Today I want to talk about the second mind, trauma, and dissociation, and the relationships among these. And what we'll do in this video is simply ask a few questions and lay out some of the basics, and then I'll ask you to reflect. What are your thoughts? What are your experiences? And share those. And what I'll do in the next few days or the next week or so is I'll talk to a colleague, either in psychiatry or psychology with experience in trauma, and then explore this issue of identity, anatomy, trauma, dissociation, and association. And we'll see what light we can shed on these associated phenomena. So one thing right off the bat to begin with is that trauma is some kind of experience or stimulus that lodges in the psyche and causes some kind of persistent reaction, right? Either known or unknown to the individual. So there's some kind of stimulus, not unlike physically, a splinter might lodge in the skin and cause a local inflammatory reaction. It is a threat to the integrity of the skin, right? And there's a local response. Similarly, this trauma that can lodge in the psyche can create an inflammatory response that changes the behavior of the organism, changes the behavior of the human being, such that we associate with only one part of what it is to be human and dissociate with the feelings or the event that is lodged in the psyche, right? This is a general framework for trauma. Now, here's a big question here. What is the nature of the human being that we are talking about? Right? Let me show you a screen. So when we think about the human being, often we think about this, human anatomy. This is what we are. Right? Now, when we get into psychiatry and psychology, we see the human being more completely. We recognize the importance of the mind. But the question here is, what exactly is the range of the mind? And what is its relationship with the body? We see that when we look at other kinds of anatomy, other models of anatomy, and you might have seen some of the other talks on this. I'm going to show it here. When we look at other models of anatomy, this, for example, is the Panchakosha model from Vedanta, right? The 5 layers of the human being. When we look at this model of anatomy, this, which we consider to be human anatomy, is just the 5th layer of the human being. So this image now is a schematic of the human being in which all the anatomy we speak of as the organs of the body are out here in this pattern layer. So what is 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Well, 4 is another level of subtle function which expresses as physiology. 3 would be what we usually consider as the mind, right? In a popular sense, and even in an academic sense, what is often considered the mind is this 3rd layer. Now, this talk isn't about the depths of the 5 layers, but I just want to show a key thing here. When we talk about association and dissociation, if we consider this 5th layer to be primarily what we are, or even the 4th and the 3rd layer to be primarily what we are, then associating more in the 2nd or 1st, or even what is called our essential nature, here represented by C, or consciousness, right? Which is often misunderstood and is not used in the sense of consciousness that is common in our society and even in most academic circles. So if there's an association of identity with the 2nd, 1st, or the deepest sense of what we are, this would qualify as dissociation from the perspective of identity being 3, 4, 5. Right? So the question is, association and dissociation relative to what? This is an important question, right? And we're not going to answer these, we're exploring. Now, the second thing to note is, this is also a dangerous thing to say, right? Because then one could say that, well, anyone who is not attending to the body, anyone who is not attending to the layers of 4 and 3 or certain aspects of the mind, is then okay because it's simply an association with the rest of the human being. No, that's not what we're saying, right? That's a dangerous interpretation. What we're saying is that the range of the human being is this entire schematic. Identity floats across and embraces all the layers of being human. And the question is, what are the ways in which that might manifest, right? Is there one way? Does it have to be primarily as a body, primarily as a mind, primarily as insight, primarily as the deeper layers? So these are important questions to ask because they define what is considered normal, quote unquote, a mathematical average in society, and they define what tools are available so that we can truly address trauma. Whatever stimulus is lodged within us at whichever layer, what are the tools that are available, and in which layer do those tools become apparent to address trauma, which is undoubtedly important to address. So these are the sticky and difficult questions that we are going to try to explore. How do we heal trauma, and what is its association, or what is its relationship with notions of association and dissociation? Where do we need to use these? How do we need to define these? This is a conversation that we're going to explore. So let me know your thoughts, and I will see you soon.